That Hotep Jesus dude. That Hotep Jesus dude.
Hotep.
What's up, people? Welcome. Late night Hotep. Welcome to the late show with Hotep Jesus. The more I do these streams at late night, the more I enjoy them. This feels like a really good time slot. I feel like I have everyone's attention at this time. This is really, really great. This is really fun. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you for everybody for the warm words from my last stream I did on Ottawa. It's one of my best performing videos so far. I didn't intend for it to be it wasn't about numbers or anything like that. It was just like I just was venting, and everybody was just like, "Wow, the video touched me," and all this other stuff. Thank you. I appreciate you guys for your kind words and sharing in those emotions with me. They were hiding you from my sub feed. Yeah, I mean, YouTube likes to play games. It's all good. We'll be off of YouTube in just a jiffy, so don't worry. We'll be moving to our own platform. Don't you worry. But we'll hang out with YouTube until I hit 100,000 subscribers. I get my plaque. I get to talk smack. But don't worry. In a few years, we'll have a much better place for you guys to consume these streams. Let's get right into it. We're here to talk about Truth Social, the new social app from Donald J. Trump and his team, et cetera, et cetera. So really fast, I just want to give a quick background as to myself, what I do, because it's pertinent to the decisions I've made regarding my involvement with Truth Social. So I come from the tech world. Okay. I've been in tech over a decade. All right. Worked with probably several dozen different technology apps. I've worked with social media apps, marketing them, advising them. Currently, I advise a handful of tech companies. The main two would be Coinbits, our Bitcoin app, and the other one would be Wazo, our AI app, or AI software, I should say. So I have extensive background in the technology field. Also, my first experience with social networks, as many of you can probably relate, goes back to about 1996 on AOL. I was in those chat rooms. We were pushing Visual Basic software. I used to hack AOL every single day of my life to get on because, well, my parents wouldn't pay for it because we had a different service. I think we got away from AOL and used like a different service. I think Netscape, because it was more like business or something like that. I forget. Or Prodigy. I can't remember. So I used to use this hack software that would generate fake credit cards and then log you in automatically. So that was my first experience with social networks. And then we moved away from that to like AIM, AOL Instant Messenger, which wasn't really a social network. It's more like a messaging app. And then we moved into the world of Black Planet and MySpace, both of which I was very successful on. On Black Planet, that was basically a place where Black people hung out. I believe you'd call them colored people or people of color. And I did very well on that app. In fact, while I was on that app, I had a page called Too Hot for BP. It basically was a site that was like a aggregate of hot girls. And then I did some native advertising to my page and my friends' pages and grew our pages through native advertising. So you'd scroll the page a third of the way down, you see an ad, you click that ad, it would come to me. I was creating these with, back then it was Macromedia Fireworks, which is, I guess now would be Photoshop, as you guys are familiar with it. Then you scroll another third, you see my homie, another third, you see my other homie. And yeah, so that was like, I had a really big page, popular page on Black Planet. Then MySpace came around. I was a photographer, and I blew that out the water. Then I moved to Twitter. I never really liked Facebook, so I never really did the Facebook thing. I hated Facebook actually from the very beginning. And then I was doing Facebook more as a formality because like people were there. And then when Twitter came about and I got involved in Twitter, I fell in love with Twitter. And then, as you know, I have 200,000 plus followers, whatever it is now, blah, 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 blah. So Saying all that to say is because I understand social media probably better than anyone. I wrote a book on it called Dominate Twitter. If you haven't gotten that, I strongly suggest you get it. That's my avant-garde work. And people have made lots of money and have done great things. Your favorite grifter influencer has probably read it. I know because I see their name in my purchase email addresses. So with that being said, let's talk about Truth Rap. First of all, when it comes to social networks are extremely hard. Extremely. Usually when I get a message from somebody and they say, hey, I need an advisor. I need somebody to help me market or brand my app. And they say, hey, and I ask them, okay, what kind of project you working on? As soon as they say social media app, I'm like, I'm out. I don't want to deal with it. It's just too hard. It's just too hard. Both from a marketing perspective, you know what it is? It's like, it's so hard and it doesn't have a high ROI. Like the ROI on it's like super low for the amount of work you have to put in. It's just like some kid comes up with Wordle, right? And Wordle blows up and he sells it to New York Times for several $million and Wordle's trending like every single day, right? Like think about the low tech it took to put together Wordle in compared to the entire infrastructure you need for social media. Like the ROI just isn't there for me. So when I hear social network, I think ROI, a lot of work, not a whole lot of money to be made. I mean, look how long it took for Twitter to become profitable. I'm like, I'm out. If it's Shark Tank, I'm like, I'm out. I pass. Unless you have innovation. And we're going to talk about innovation in just a moment. So now, okay. I don't want to jump to innovation. So let me reel it back. Social networks being very hard. So here, let's talk about the obstacles, right? And let's talk about how Zuckerberg was able to overcome these obstacles and others weren't. Okay. Because I think that's probably the most successful social network on the planet. As much as we hate Meta or Facebook or whatever it's called, we have to give props to where it's due as far as adoption worldwide is concerned. Okay, cool. Be Weezy Bird, thank you. He said, unrelated to today's stream topic, Peter Schiff will be debating Richard Hart, the creator of Hex, on gold versus crypto this Wednesday. Richard could be a great person to interview for the channel. I actually checked out Richard, and I'm not interviewing anybody who runs a shitcoin. Sorry. It's Bitcoin or nothing else. And I strongly suggest that for my viewers that don't touch shitcoins, stick to Bitcoin. Unless you're an expert, then you can start dealing with other coins. Anyway, getting back to the subject matter. Not helping anybody pump their shitcoin, sorry. Now, let's come back. Truth Rap, the obstacles. So here's the problem. When you're a social media app, your first job is you have to connect people, right? That means you need group A and group B, and you have to bring them together. The problem with social media app is you launch it, and if it's dead, well, chances are people aren't coming back. Like people want to be able to interact with other people. And that's one thing they did get right with the launch of Truth Rap. And we're going to talk about their rollout of Truth Rap as a technology. But the one thing they did get right is having a wait list. And usually when you want to roll out a social media app, you want to do a wait list so that you can bring everybody in. And when you get there, it's a party, right? You don't want to get there and it's a dead party. It's just like being, it's just like going to a party in real life. You get to the party and it's dead, and then people come and it's dead, or a club and it's dead. It's just like, you come to a party and it's popping, you want to stay, right? So it's the same thing with social media apps. You come to the party, it's got to be popping, right? Cool. Here's the other problem. On the technology end, you have user experience, and then you have infrastructure, right? If we look at the amount of infrastructure that goes into just maintaining a social media app, I mean, it's a nightmare, okay? Just to maintain the amount of traffic, especially when you're doing the amount of traffic that Truth Social will have to do, the overhead is just insane, right? It's just insane. And then you have to deal with UX. Like, what's the user experience like? Can it compete with Facebook and all its robustness? Can it compete with Twitter and all its robustness? The fact of the matter is no. From a technology perspective, they cannot compete with Facebook or Twitter. It's just not possible. And I'm going to show you why in just a moment. We have several things to go through here. So we're going to talk about the name that they chose, the rollout, innovation, and the app itself and the technology. But the problem is, and I'll just spitball here, going based upon Twitter's development of their app. Okay, so you have likes. Underneath the likes, you have the animation. After the animation, you have the curation of likes on the feed. Okay, then you have the curation of the likes on the feed happening in not chronological order, but order in which you liked it. Because it used to be in chronological order. And then they switched it to knowing, okay, this is going to be in order of the order that this person liked it, right? From newest to oldest. It used to be if you liked something from 1922, it was all the way down at the bottom because it was 1922 tweet. Not that Twitter was around in 1922. Then you have the curation of your algorithm. Yes, Twitter has an algorithm similar to Facebook. If you do not disengage that algorithm, you will be in algorithm land and you will not have your timeline feed in chronological order. So I suggest you go in and you turn that off. If you don't know how to do that, I will show you right now. Give me just a moment, because I think this is a vital lesson for all of you to learn. And I'll pull this up on your screen in just a second. Hold on. So let me do it first, just to make sure you guys aren't seeing any of my private information. And because I want to know I can do this before I show it to you. Where did they put it now? Because they always move stuff around. Settings. No, it's not there. Is it here? It's there. Display. No. Notifications. Filters. No. Privacy and safety. No. Security. No. Download archives. Deactivate account. No. Here it is. Here it is. Found it. All right. So check this out. So at the top of your feed, at least on desktop, you'll see this little image here. And if you hover over it, you see it says top tweets. Now, if I hit that, it says home, shows you top tweets first. Now, if I choose see latest tweets instead, that's what I'll see. I'll see the latest tweets instead. Now, let me tell you something funny. I had it set to see latest tweets instead, and Twitter went, and as I'm just now seeing, is showing me top tweets first. And I'm going to put it back to the top tweets first, because I kind of like having the top tweets first now that I think about it. Because usually I get to see what I missed from my followers. So it's a little bit of a convenience. But I believe there's another thing in here. Is it content preferences? Somewhere in here, you got to make sure that your explore settings. Yeah, you can set your explore locations. Make sure you set that to United States if you're United States or whatever country you'd rather see it in. But anyway, I just want you to see that, right? Because if you don't do that, sometimes your stuff you won't see things in chronological order. Anyway, next. So just that feature alone, right? Having that algorithm, you got to figure that out to compete with Twitter. When we're talking about the curation of a thread, right? So let's come here. Let's go to one of my threads. Let's go to one of my threads that actually have some engagement. All right. So here's one. And the curation of how Twitter decides what tweets they'll show first, so on and so forth, right? Probably when you go to Trump apps, it's going to be in order or the wrong order. There's relevant people, what's happening, like all of this stuff, bookmarks, like all of this stuff is not something that Twitter came out the box with, right? When Twitter was first launched, it didn't have all these features, right? This is something that was rolled out over time, okay? So social networks, well, technology apps, you get your MVP out there, your minimum viable product, you get it out there and you slowly innovate on top of it, little by little. You listen to your users and your users say, hey, this is good, this isn't, do this, do that, da 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 da, right? Wonderful. So Twitter is, I don't know, over a decade worth of evolution. There's no way you're coming out the box with a decade's worth of evolution and features. You're just not. You're not. So the first rule is don't try to compete with what you cannot compete with. And that's the problem. That's the problem you'll see with most social media apps. They try to catch up to Twitter. And what you're going to do is you're going to stress your devs out. They're going to try and build Twitter. And by the time you build Twitter today, Twitter's going to have evolved. I mean, they got live, they figured out the whole, video situation, the photo video, and forget about infrastructure and hosting these videos or streaming these videos. Oh my God, it's just a nightmare infrastructure, right? Anyway. But by the time you build Twitter today, Twitter will be something else tomorrow. So you'll never catch up, which is why I come to my first point, which is innovation. Now, Truth reached out to me last week. I'm not going to name the individual's name. At that moment, I had no idea it was Trump's app. Even if it was, my response would have been the same thing, right? And they reached out to me, I guess, because I'm an influencer or something like that, or they thought I was an influencer, but they got the wrong guy. I'm not the type of guy where you just reach out and say, hey, yeah, you should join our app. And I'm just like, cool, I want to be down. I'm not thirsty like that, right? And also, I don't FOMO, right? Like, fear of missing out is something that you're not going to be able to get me on. If you say, well, everybody's going to be on this, I'm going to be like, you know what? I'm a rebel. If you're telling me everybody's going to be on this, I'm definitely not going to be there. So I don't FOMO. Anyway, this person says, hey, Hotep, this will likely never get read. So this is a psychological trick that they try to pull, to get you to respond. It doesn't work for me. I see it, but I still responded anyway because I like to respond to almost all of my messages, especially if they're business. So it says, but I am, I'm not going to say his title, at Truth Social and want to offer you early access if you're interested. I have followed you on Twitter for a while and think you are an important voice. Let me know. My name is, and he says, I am a longtime TV producer who will be running the show, this situation. We want you there. And I said, based upon the tech and UI, what is your unique value proposition? If it's a free speech platform, that does not move me. And we're going to talk about that in a second. Okay. People think like, oh yeah, this is your free speech platform. It's just like, you still got to follow Apple's terms and conditions because you're an Apple app. So no, it's not a free speech platform because Apple, as soon as you do something wrong, Apple's going to go delete. Now, are there ways around Apple to get an app installed? Absolutely. Should they have rolled this out as a web-only app? Absolutely. Anyway, so he says, an unexpected response. I know it's an unexpected response because you don't really know me. You follow me on Twitter. Like, this is a problem with a lot of people. They follow me on Twitter, but they've never watched any of my YouTube content. So they think they know me from a few tweets. But until you watch my YouTube, you have no idea about me, my personality, my preferences, my likes, my dislikes, etc. So it says, so many people clamoring for me to get them on, but you are unimpressed. Again, FOMO, like, okay, so everybody else is thirsty to get on this app. Why should I be? Like, I'm not. Just because other people are clamoring on this app, why should I be? He says, love it, but I also know you are an independent thinker. Yes, I am. Indeed, we have not reinvented the wheel. I know you haven't reinvented the wheel. There's no innovation going to be happening here. I seriously doubt it. And we're going to get into the technology in a moment. It says our mission is allowing suppressed information, art, and news back into the world dialogue. So yes, free speech, but more. Free society and free thought. Does that not move you? No, it doesn't move me. I practice free speech on YouTube all the time. Do we use coded language? Yeah, but I'm still getting my point across to my audience. And then half the stuff you guys want to have free speech on, it's just like, I don't even really care to talk about that. I don't really care about that. Like, oh, free speech. Yes, should we have free speech? True, absolutely. But like, when you tell me your unique value proposition for technology is something about free speech, I'm like, well, what about the technology? What about the technology ensures free speech? That's what I want to know. And there's nothing about the technology that's going to guarantee you free speech, especially not when you launch it on Apple. You are under Apple's jurisdiction. Somebody said, did you notice that their privacy policy in TOS returned to 404? Listen, you know how much stuff you have to worry about when you launch a social media app? They're going to miss a shit ton of shit. Because it's like I said, it's a whole lot of work, and they do not know how to build one of these companies. And I'm going to show you in just a second that they don't know what they're doing. It has nothing to do with Trump. It has everything to do with Trump put the wrong people in charge of this project. And they're probably grifting off of him. So poor Trump for being grifted on by these people who know nothing about this space. Okay, let's continue. So he says, does that not move you? All good. Email me if you want to come on before the park opens for real. I appreciate you responding. And I said, Gab already does this. Now, keep in mind, I responded to this. When was this message sent? Friday. This is Friday I responded to this message. I haven't heard back from this guy yet. It's Monday, President's Day. I have not heard back from this guy yet. So I said, Gab already does this. We already have a free speech platform. Why is everybody creating another one? Y'all done created 4. I don't know. All right, I'll give you 3. The Republicans have 3. If we include True Social, this is your 3rd app. How much free speech apps y'all gonna make? The first one was a dud. They got hacked. All your information got leaked. The second one was a Chinese app. Okay? It was a Chinese app rebranded. Y'all bought it from Gu Wanggu, the Chinese magnet. Allegedly had ties to the CCP. I don't know what the fuck y'all got going on. Now you got another app that's supposed to be free speech. How many free speech apps do y'all need? You already had Gab. I don't want to hear free speech as a value proposition. Show me your technology. Show me how you're innovating. Show me how you're different from Facebook. Because if you come out and it's retweets and likes, I'm not impressed. Oh, what are you going to do? You're going to have the same feed as Facebook? You're going to have the same feed as Twitter? So they've created the gold standard of social media, and you have no innovation whatsoever. So what you're going to do is you're going to copy it, right? And then you're going to get your feelings butt hurt because I'm criticizing your family's app. I'm just giving you the truth. Jonathan W. True Social, instant access to redacted watch list. Do not get me started on that. I'm not even going to go there in this episode. I'm not even going there. We're going to keep it just on business. This is just business, just technology, okay? So I said, I'd be impressed when a startup doesn't simply clone Twitter and Meta. I responded, actually innovate in this space and you'll win big time. Otherwise, you'll carry more cost than revenue and struggle with adoption. UX is super important. UX is user experience. What is the user's experience like? And we're going to talk about it in a moment, how user experience currently is probably graded a D. Let's just say it's a D right now. And I'm being harsh, but I think that's an accurate grade, and I'm going to show you why in just a moment. If you want to book me for a consult, we can set something up. So I offer my services. I say, yo, Truth Social, if you want Hotep Jesus to help you, I can help you. The problem is what people see, they see this black dude on the internet, and they think I'm just a black dude on the internet. What they don't know is I have an extensive background in tech and startups and apps. That's what I do. I sat here and I carved out a niche for myself in here in 2012. Okay. I was working with 50 Cent at the time. I was running to a lot of investors. I was running to a lot of celebrities. And these investors, every time I walked up to an investor or we had a meeting, like I worked with Carmelo Anthony. I worked with some people at BET. I worked with a bunch of different people, right? Bunch of artists. And I said to them all, I said, even when I was working at the company that was in partnership with 50, right? I said to them, why don't y'all just drop an app? You know, the app store is going to grow. Look at the size of Apple's app store right now. And then think about what it was in 2011 when I brought this idea to them. I said, yo, we should probably hop into technology land. And nobody listened to me. And I didn't know much about it then. I mean, I was always a computer geek, but I didn't really know much about the app space yet. So I had a meeting with a former Mets player who was launching another alcohol brand. Every time I went to one of these investors / celebrities, they always want to put out some alcohol. And I'm like, I really don't want to promote alcohol to people. Like, what good is that doing the earth? I want to be in technology, right? So I got out of that space. I got out of CPG, consumer packaged goods, and I went and I learned. I put myself through like internet college, bought a bunch of courses, and I learned app marketing. Then I worked for, like I said, 24 different app companies over the past decade to get my experience. Go to grifties.com right now and deal with our app. Our app is the official app for the Grifties Award Show. Quick plug. Anyway, excuse me. So I carved out my niche in this space because I really wanted to learn it. And I learned a lot, and I know the space, right? So one thing I know is user experience is very important. And I know where everybody goes wrong, especially when it comes to social media apps, because I love social media apps. And I spent the majority of my time in tech dreaming of the perfect social media app, right? And just thinking about how I would promote one, You can even see DMs I sent Jack for for features. I used to because he follows me, I used to DM him features and they'd roll them out. I kind of just know what things need. It's just sort of intuitive. So when I was reaching out to Truth app, I'm trying to help them. I'm like, yo, like, holla at me. But all they see is a black face on the internet. They don't know my background in tech, okay? But UX is important. Thomas Carbone, thank you. Oh man, $50. Oh baby, he said $50 for Genius Rant. They think I'm just a black dude on the internet. HJ, definitely one of a kind. Thank you. I'm a computer geek. Let me just tell you, I'm a computer geek. My dad bought me my first. I wouldn't even say my first computer. My first computer experience probably goes back to like 84, okay? Commodore 64. My brother is an NJIT graduate. I have a half brother older than me. He's an NJIT graduate. He's a computer programmer. I've been around computers my entire life, okay? When the internet first came out, for the public, not the one that came out in the 70s, late 70s. I'm talking about for the public, like Prodigy, Netscape, AOL. I was there, okay? I used to build computers in 96, okay? That's what I did. I used to do help desk work when I was 17, okay? For my dad's friends and family, etc. I am technically a computer geek. I built my first website in 1998. It was an e-commerce website for this Indian dude who sold coins. So I built my first e-com website in 98, 99-ish, I want to say, okay? I don't know where y'all was, but this is what I was doing. I was there during the .com boom. I was building on the internet, okay? This is when you had to take your files and upload them through a file transfer protocol. That's FTP, okay? This is when TCP/IP first started coming out, HTTP, okay? So I am at heart a geek, a computer geek. If you ask anybody who went to high school with me, they'll tell you he was a geek. Yes, I was a geek. I had swag, I get girls, but I was a geek, okay? I spent a tremendous amount of time on the computer. So I'm not just a black guy, okay? When people say, they see me and they figure out, oh, how can you do all these great things on the internet? Because I have tremendous background dealing with computers. That's why I'm able to put all this stuff together without anyone's help, because I know software, okay? Let's continue. So these people are overlooking me. David Zientara, I adore my Commodore 64. Remember the Commodore 64? Oh my God. Anyway, so I have tremendous background in the tech space, right? I breathe this stuff. I have been breathing this stuff. I remember when the first CD burner came out. We had one, okay? I remember when the CD burner came out at 2x speed, and my dad asked me, should I go get 4x speed? I said, nah, wait 6 months, 32x to come out. We waited 2 months and 64x came out. And then we went to the computer show and copped that one and we built our PC. This is what I used to do, okay? Now, let's continue. So they think I'm a black dude. No, I'm a tech geek. All right. So what I do now, I've moved into the marketing and branding space of tech because when I was younger, I would say freshman year of college, I went to college for IT and I was just bored. I was like, yo, there's all these geeks in this class. Like I had too much swag to be a geek, but I was still a geek. But I was like, this ain't for me. It's just too boring. I didn't want to be a programmer. I was more outgoing and charismatic. So I ended up going into mortgages and selling mortgages until 2008 housing crisis crashed and all of that, whatever. But I never liked programming. I thought it was super boring, right? So I didn't do that. I just like playing with software, to be honest with you. Anyway, so I ended up in the marketing and branding space, and I've been doing that for 20 plus years, right? So I wrote a book on it that's based upon marketing principles you're not going to find anywhere else. It's Dominate Twitter. You should go get a copy of that, especially if you want to launch a brand, especially if you want to launch a technology brand, and especially if you want to launch a technology brand using Twitter as your platform. But Dominate Twitter is going to help you in all walks of life. Let's continue. Now, let's talk about, before we get to technology, remember computer shows back in the day? Let's talk about the name, right? And then we're going to talk about the technology. And let's talk about the name, the rollout. We talked about innovation, and then we're going to talk about the app itself, right? So the name, Truth Social. Again, another truth app. Oh, are you going to get the truth? All right. So I think the name gets an A-. Okay, I heard somebody say the name is not good or they don't like the name for the target demographic is perfect because every single conservative boomer out there is going to be like, they're going to know exactly what they're getting from this app, which is allegedly the truth, which is allegedly free speech. So they get an A- on the app name. OK, so Truth app. I love it. Let's just go ahead and give them an A- for the name. OK, let's talk about the rollout. The rollout, I'm going to go ahead and give them a C-. I really want to give them a D+ because they broke a cardinal rule, right? You never launch until your app is ready. OK, and right now there's nobody using the app, right? What they have is, you go into the app store and then like, let me show you what the experience is like for people trying to use the app right now. So there's an article right here from Business Insider, and I'm sure this is probably harsher than most people's experiences, but it says, I tried using Trump's new social media app, Truth Social. It took me 5 attempts and several error messages to sign up. Then I got waitlisted. So let's talk about that before we finish, right? Why did it take 5 attempts and several error messages? Because what I told you before, infrastructure is a nightmare. Do you know how many people are rushing to go sign up for this app? Of course it's going to crash. They can't handle the traffic. They probably didn't do AWS, right? So if your traffic's not going through AWS, you can't scale up the bandwidth because that's what AWS is going to throttle it down. It's going to throttle it up based upon your bandwidth, right? In so few words, okay? And I'm sure there's other tech people that can probably explain this way better than I can. Okay, so I don't know what they did, but when somebody comes to your app, the shit better not fucking crash. It's not supposed to be giving error messages. And my guess is it's giving error messages because it can't handle the traffic that it's getting from all the Russia people trying to come in and sign up for your app. So what should they have really done? What they should have did was they could have opened up and used somebody else's bandwidth. They could have popped up, now I wouldn't do this, but they could have popped up a MailChimp subscriber form and leached off of MailChimp servers. And it wouldn't have crashed because MailChimp's got the infrastructure. Now, I probably would have launched my own website and embedded a form from some other place, you probably would have had to pay a decent fee for the amount of people that were going to subscribe. So maybe you don't want to use a third party service based upon that, but you could have called them. You could have worked a deal out. I don't know. Maybe you could have did it internally with your own form, but I would have launched this as web only, and I would have gotten pretty decent service to handle the traffic and estimated the traffic, and it would have been low tech. It would just been a basic form. What's your desired username? If that is even pertinent, but at the very least, let me get, I don't know, your email address and maybe zip code, just so I can geo-target where people are coming from. But at the very least, just let me get your email address so I can let you know, right? So that's what I would have did. I would have just popped up a regular page that said, yo, sign up right here, right now. Very low tech, right? Remember, when you're dealing with tech, you want high ROI. You don't want low ROI, you want high ROI. That means low amount of work, low amount of costs with a high return. The high return is the amount of people that sign up, right? Cool. So, first big mistake, error messages. Yeah, I didn't want this happening. Uncle Hotep signed up. Uncle Hotep's like, I still haven't heard back yet. What is that? Like, whoa. Like, how are you running your operation over there? So let's continue. It says the Truth Social, the new social media app from former President Donald Trump, launched on Apple's App Store Sunday evening. No, it didn't. It didn't launch. It's not here. I downloaded the app Monday and tried to use it. It didn't quite go as planned. I received a series of error messages. I tried to put my details in, verify my email address in a bid to join the so-called truth sayers of Truth Social. Okay. This screen right here. This is a very basic sign-on screen. Very, very basic sign-on screen. And considering that it's a truth app and you got people here, I hope they have 2FA. Especially with the way hacks go, I hope they have 2FA for you guys. Anyway, it says on my fifth attempt, I was able to create an account, add a username and password, and log in. Okay. It says, but then I was told I'd be placed on a wait list around 157,000 other wannabe users because there was a massive demand for the app. We love you. You're not just a number to us, the message said. Okay. So everybody's got this screen, right? I'm sure like the majority of you who signed up for this have gotten this screen, right? Meanwhile, I wasn't able to post on Truth Social or see other accounts or posts of other users. Truth Social encountered technical difficulties shortly after launching to the public. And I got a bombshell for you coming up that's just going to just completely destroy this technology. Just hold on. According to its official website, and shout out to Jeff for putting that on my desk too. After the app launched to beta testers last week, several complained they were getting error messages similar to that. Truth Social, is expected to mark Okay, so there is no app. Okay, let's stop right there. Let's just stop right there. There is no app. There's no app, at least not right now. Nobody knows what this thing looks like. Nobody's able to post. Nobody see posts. There's no app. There's a wait list. And you could have did this very low tech. You didn't have to go through the app store. Could do that very low tech. So first of all, there is no app. Just get that out the way right there. Okay. There's no app. Stop saying there's an app. There's no app. I want to see an app. Before I even roll anything, before I put myself on this thing, I want to know, does it look like Twitter and Facebook where there's a feed, retweets, and likes? Because if it is, I'm not coming. I'm not coming until it becomes a necessity, until I have to be there. And then I'll come and migrate, and then everybody say, hey, Hotep Jesus is here. Hey, how you doing, guys? Glad to be here. I'm glad you guys got the party warmed up for me. I don't want to warm up the party. I want the party to be popping when I get there. I'm going to show up late, just like I do in real life. When I used to go to parties, I wasn't the first one at the party. I'd come like when the party was popping. Like if I, especially if it was New York City. New York City, the party's not popping till, if you're uptown, party ain't even going to start till fucking 3 a.m. And it's not going to get popping till 5 a.m. But let's say you're dealing with downtown. The party ain't popping till probably 2 a.m. So I ain't getting there till 2 a.m. And plus I'm probably VIP and I'm going to get pushed ahead of the line anyway, whatever. At least that's how it was when I was working with 50. Okay. But I want to get there when the party's popping. I don't want to help get the party popping. If I'm going to help get the party popping, I must be compensated for my time and for my effort. Y'all go get the shit popping. And when it's popping and they figure all the bugs out and the experience is great, then I'll show up. But in the meantime, I'm not that interested, right? Because I already know what we're getting. I've seen all this stuff a million times. I already know what we're getting into, okay? And you guys can go. I'm not telling you guys not to go on this. I want you guys to go on this app and have a good old fucking time. This is not a video to disparage the app. This is the app to educate my users on what it's like to have a social media app and what to expect from this app, right? From a very honest perspective, okay? That's all this is about. And I'm going to show you in a second what this app is truly for. Now, what is this app for? Can you guys tell me? In the chat, can you guys tell me who this app is for? Somebody says, is there even a test flight beta version? I don't know what's going on here, bro. I don't even know. Anybody tell me what this app is for or who this app is for? Is this app for conservatives? Is this app for Republicans? Who is this app for? I want you to if you're watching the replay, pause it and then answer in the comment or just say that the answer out loud to yourself. Who you think this app is for? I'm going to give you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So I see some answers. Somebody says boomers, Google, glowies, QAnon cult, boomers, Russian bots, voters. Christian McNair and Roscoe are correct. Somebody said getting the truth out. Somebody said Trump to fleece more money. Somebody said MAGA, Trump fans, and Iron Ballsack and Pariah the Boneless. You guys are the correct ones. This is for Trump. Iron Ballsack said app is for Trump to prep his presidential run. I love that name. Pause. Christian McNair said Trump. Correct. You are correct. Roscoe said 2024 presidential run. That is correct. This app isn't for you. It's for Trump. This app is for Trump. This is his app because he got banned from everywhere. And let me just tell you right now, that's genius. One time for Donald Trump.
Hotep.
And a Hotep. Genius. You got banned from all the other places. I'm going to build my own app and then I'll talk directly to my base. And that's what this is about. This is opening up lines of communication using social media directly to his base. This isn't for you. Don't be fooled. Can you get some benefit from being here and make some money and connect with people? Absolutely. I'm sure you probably could. But let's be honest, this is for Trump. This is a communication lines directly to his base because they've cut him off from everywhere else. And it's genius. And it's genius. Leroy M said, just got my Patriot Report copy out the mail. Thanks, Hotep. I appreciate you for purchasing my book, The Patriot Report. You are amazing. Enjoy that. Study that. Read it more than once. It's very potent. Right? This is for Donald J. Trump, and it's genius. It's genius. They should have called it the Donald Trump app. And that's why I gave him an A-. Because True Social is sort of misleading. Because like I said, you don't launch an app for free speech on Apple platforms. You would do it like maybe Web3 style, or I don't even say blockchain. Blockchain's too slow. But you would just do it in a very innovative way. You know, very censorship proof. That's the word I'm looking for. Censorship proof. And launching an app on Apple does not make you censorship proof. In fact, Gab tried to launch an app on Apple and they banned them. Google banned them. So, you know, I'm saying there's probably a 50-50 chance that this app doesn't last long on Apple. OK, yeah, Apple's going to go, you know what? Cut this dude Donald Trump off. We don't like what he's saying here. We don't agree with his words and his rhetoric. Cut him off. Now, somebody said Apple wouldn't do that because of money. And that person's quite ignorant to Apple's power. Does anybody know how much cash Apple has on hand? Yes, I am on Gab. Hotep Jesus is on Gab and I'm verified on Gab. Does anybody know how much cash Apple has on hand? I mean, Apple has more cash on hand than most countries have printed money. I mean, last time I checked, it was $2 trillion. I don't even remember. Don't give me the line. Maybe it's not $2 trillion. Let's just go ahead and Google, right? Apple cash on hand. Let's see. That's right here. Apple. This is based upon January 27th, 2021. Apple now has 195 billion in cash on hand, up 3.7 billion. Money is not a thing for, companies usually talk about being valued at several $billion. No, Apple has that in cash. In cash. Money is not a concern. What is wrong with you people? What is wrong with you people? Y'all don't know nothing. Oh, Apple wouldn't do that because Apple wants money. Apple got bread. Bread. Real money. Cash. Do y'all read? Oh, the ignorance of people. So no, there's no monetary incentive for Apple to keep the Trump app around. And that's what I'm calling it, the Trump app. I'm not calling it Truth Social. It's the Trump app. That's what they should have called it. If they'd have came out and said, download the Trump app, I would have gave the app an A+ for the name. But because they said Truth app, I'm like, I get it. Good marketing, direct to your audience. But A+ if you would have called it the Donald Trump app or the Trump app. Now that would have been fire. Because it would have been honest. Don't grift. And I'm sure they had a meeting. They walked in and said, Trump, we got a good name. We're going to call it the Truth app. And I'd have been in the meeting. I'd have been like, nah, don't call it that. Call it the Trump app because that's what this is. The people still going to sign up. They're going to sign up. They're going to sign up faster if you call it the Trump app. It's called the Trump app. Why are we beating around the bush? I mean, that's what social media is going to call it. They're going to call it the Trump app. Call it what it is. David Zientara says Apple could buy companies with their petty cash. Thank you. Thank you. Apple's just reaching the pocket. Let me buy some companies today. And buy some companies. Just with cash. Trump book. Oh my God. So that's how I feel about the name. Okay. And the rollout. So the rollout's terrible. The rollout, we're giving them, what did I say? A C-, D+. You got crashes and I think the overall grade right now is, I got to give it a D+. And it just comes back to the fact that whoever decided to do this is just grifting off of Trump and grifting off the people, and it's just a real bang up job. So let's go ahead and drop into the bombshell. Let's get into the bombshell of why this shit fucking sucks. Let me just go. I didn't want to say that. Fuck it. It sucks. Okay. The shit sucks. Let's show you. Right here, October 29th, 2021. Mastodon puts Trump's social network on notice for improperly using its code. This is October 29th, 2021. I'm going to show you. It says Mastodon. First, let's look up what Mastodon is, right? Let's go Mastodon. Right here, mastodon.social. Let's see how they describe themselves. All right, so maybe we'll go to a wiki site then. Mastodon social wiki. Let's see how wiki describes it. All right, Mastodon software. So it says Mastodon is a free and open source software. So open source is basically means that anybody can take the code and basically build whatever they want on top of that code, right? It's open source. Anybody can have this code. I'm going to build this app, this social media app, and I'm going to give you the code so you can take the code and do whatever you want with it. So if you want to take the code and just change the logos around and call it the Hotep app, you can do that. Now, as far as infrastructure and all that, that's on you. But the source, they're going to give you the code. You don't have to do anything else, okay? So it says right here, Mastodon is free and open source software for running self-hosted. Remember, we talked about infrastructure, right? Yeah, how are you going to host this thing? The host is where all the gigabytes and downloads and streams and transfers of data happen, right? Social networking services. It has microblogging features similar to Twitter. If you want to know what Twitter is a microblogging surface. When you go on Twitter, you have become a blogger. You've become a microblogger. That's what Twitter is. It's a microblogging service, which are offered by a large number of independently Mastodon nodes known as instances, each with its own code of conduct, terms of services, privacy options, and moderation policies. Okay, so now we know what Mastodon is. Let's come back to the article. So it says here, Mastodon has sent former President Donald Trump's company a formal notification that it's breaking the rules by using Mastodon's open source code to build its social network named Truth. Stop right there. Stop right there. Remember when Hotep Jesus told you there's going to be no innovation here? There is no innovation here. Zero, zilch, nada, none. Now, I don't know what happened between October 21st when this article hit and now that they could have, within the past 5 months, innovated something new. I highly doubt it. But as of October 21st, this is a Mastodon duplicate. There's no innovation happening here. It's not new. It's not new. This is not new. And you had the nerve to DM Hotep Jesus and say, I should join the future and I should be a part of this. And people are clamoring to come to what? Mastodon? You took some open source code and slapped a new logo on it and called it new? Are you serious? Are you serious? And poor Trump, he's just an old dude. So how's he supposed to know any better? He trusts you guys. Whoever he put in charge of this technology, he trusted you guys to give him something good, and you guys come up with some open source code. How would I look if Wazo or Coinbits app was built off of open source code? Are you serious? Are you serious? We operate off proprietary code. We built the code ourselves. So let's show you. Now, sometimes are we using with our companies? No. But sometimes you can get away with pieces of open source code here and there. It happens all the time. But the entire thing? So let's continue. It says, this news comes from a blog post by Mastodon's founder, Eugene Rocco. But others have previously pointed out that the organization behind Truth, the Trump Media and Technology Group, TMTG, was violating Mastodon's software license by not providing the source code for the site built upon it. So part of the agreement that Mastodon says is if you take their open source code and you build on top of it, you must release and have your code open source because it originated from our open source code and we want to keep it open source for everybody. So if you take that Mastodon code and you innovate and create great on top of it and bring something new, it must be shared with everybody in the community so they can take your code and build on top of that. And that's how you create great code for everyone. This is how the future is going to be built. Open source code, okay? But they didn't do that. They didn't do that. They're violating the open source code, the software license, by not providing the open source code for the rest of the community. Now it says here, Trump's group has 30 days from when the letter was sent to comply with the license or stop using the software, or it could lose the right to do so. Now watch this. It says, while Truth hasn't officially launched yet, internet users discovered that a test version basically has the same interface as Mastodon. And some of the code for the site was unchanged from the other social networks code. By itself, that's actually the intended use of open source software. But as Software Freedom Conservancy pointed out last week, apps or websites based on software that uses AGPL version 3 license have to in turn provide their own source code, according to the foundation that wrote AGPL. It's meant to make the community software better. We just went over this. If you improve on something that someone else made, they should be able to benefit from your work like you did theirs, right? Now look at this paragraph. It says, as Mastodon and Rocco reiterated on Friday, even though TMTG hasn't done that, it even went as far as to call its software proprietary. It's not proprietary. You can't just throw words around in a technology space and think they mean something and think they hold any weight. You just can't do that. So you went on another app, you saw them use the word proprietary. Did you look up what proprietary means? Did you look up what the word proprietary means? I need you to know the definitions of words before you use them. Open source code that you jack ain't proprietary. There's nothing exclusive about it. So not only did they take the code and then not share their code as they're supposed to, they had the nerve to lie to people intentionally or unintentionally. I don't know. I'm not here to judge intent. All I'm saying is intentionally or unintentionally call it proprietary. It's a lie. It's not proprietary. Now, it says, and seemingly tried to hide, let's go back, and seemingly tried to hide the fact that it was based on Mastodon. So not only did they call it proprietary, they tried to hide the fact of who they got the code from. It says, now that the truth has been revealed, however, TMTG will either have to rebuild it without using Mastodon's code, a tall order. Remember I told you before, very hard to build these type of apps. It's very, very hard to build these type of apps. It's a lot of coding that goes into it, a lot of dev work, and devs cost money, as bootstrapping a social network site isn't particularly easy. This is what we went over in the beginning of this video. Or release its source code and change the terms of services. It's not the first time Mastodon has had to deal with, as Rocco puts it, people so antithetical to its values, trying to build on top of its open source platform. In 2019, Gab, a social network known for getting banned from almost everything due to how many toxic users it has, allegedly it has toxic users, right? Allegedly, decided it would use Mastodon as a back end. Unlike that situation, though, where Gab wasn't really breaking any rules, at least regarding the use of the software, Truth is violating the AGPL by using Mastodon's code in an unauthorized way. How TMTG will deal with the gauntlet now that it's been thrown down twice is anyone's guess. Now, why would Gab use open source code? Because who wants to reinvent the wheel? Why would you do that when it already exists? If you're going to create a microblogging service that clones Facebook and Twitter, and you're just creating an alternative, you're not innovating anything. There's no innovation happening here, although Gab has some new innovations, which are kind of innovations, I guess. Why would you reinvent the wheel when the code already exists? It just doesn't make sense to pay a bunch of devs to create something when the code already exists. Just take it and let's just make it do what we want it to do. It's just that simple, right? It's that simple. So this is why I don't like the team running Trump stuff. Because look at this. You breaking all types of bro code with the open source situation. You're lying and saying it's proprietary. Then you're trying to hide the people that actually built the code. Huh? Yeah, DC, reinventing the wheel is pricey. If I say innovation one more time, innovation. Somebody said True Social up for the grifties. Thank you. But this is why I feel bad for Trump. I feel bad for people, a lot of people in these situations. I've had this girl came to me and she said she wanted to build an in-between between people who need hairdressers and people who and hairdressers, or people who do makeup and people who need their makeup done. And then I looked at her app and I'm like, oh, I could have bought this for $25 off of Theme Forest. And she said, I paid $20,000 for this. I'm like, wait, let me guess. Somebody from India? She was like, well, I hired somebody in the US and then they contracted it out to somebody in India. And I'm like, they charge you $20K for it? Yeah. And the app's still not done? Yeah. I'm like, oh my God. In the App Store. Then she tells me she hadn't gotten any adoption. I said, well, how many clients have you connected? How many clients have you connected? You know what the answer was? 0. $20,000 app with 0 clients. So she came into my class and I said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to build the same thing, but low tech. I'm going to make your clients make money. I'm not going to tell you how we did it because you got to pay for that information. Okay. But I'll tell you parts of how we did it. We ran this off of a MailChimp. Again, coming back to MailChimp, just basic. Could have did it any one of these email providers, right? So we did it with MailChimp. We got a form together. And then we sent the traffic to the form. The form existed on a landing page. I showed them how to launch a landing page, how to write the copy, et cetera, et cetera. And we sent the traffic to the landing page. And then from the landing page, I set up a system, very low tech, a system that connected people with these hairdressers. 3 weeks after launching this, I spoke to the co-founder here. Now, keep in mind, the cost of this was whatever MailChimp cost. And I think they were under 2,000 subscribers. So that was free. So I guess maybe, let's say less than $100. Okay. Came back and their list of hairdressers said they had a 30% increase in business. And it cost us, well, we did some other things. Let's just say less than $1,000, somewhere around about, probably less than that. I got to go look at the spend. Less than $500, and they actually had results. Now, $20,000 for this robust app that wasn't done yet, was hired by a U.S. company, contracted out to India, still was not done, and it was terrible, which you could have paid $20 for a theme for us, open source code, and had you an app that did the same thing. But you paid $20,000 for it. This is why when you get into software, call me first. If you want to build an app, call me first. You're going to pay me a consultation fee to tell you how to build this app and who to hire. I'm not going to put it together for you. I'm going to tell you how to put it together. I'm going to tell you the first things you need to do. We're going to do it low tech. We're going to do it high ROI. Low cost, high ROI. And if you go high tech, maybe your idea might need high tech. And I hope you got the high dollars to match that high tech. She goes, oh my God, Hotep Jesus, you saved my life. I wish I'd have met you years ago before I spent $20K. Yeah, I wish you'd have met me too. You spent $20,000, wasted your money. And I feel bad for people like this because you get robbed and you get ripped off by people who tell you, oh yeah, I could build you an app. And then they go get some open source code, slap your logo on it, and then charge you a whole fucking, I want to know how much they charging Trump for this app. Y'all need to go. I'm snitching. We snitching. Y'all need to, when y'all get on this Truth app, I need y'all to call out their team. Say Hotep Jesus has a beef with y'all and how y'all have abused Trump. So I hope y'all haven't charged Trump but $100 to put this shit together. All right, maybe $100 is kind of cheap. And the hourly rate. And I want to see the tasks that you guys put together because I could have put this whole thing together with a team of, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 5. A team of 5, and I could have paid them part-time. It's a few hours a week. Yeah, I could have did it with 5 people part-time, 3 full-time. Because I don't like dividing people into multiple tasks. And we could have had this thing up and running for Trump, cheap as shit. So I feel bad for Trump because he don't know no better. And his team, I'm going to chalk it up and say they're ignorant. I'm not even going to say that they're grifting. I'm not going to say that they stealing his money and they're being malicious with his money. They're being duplicitous. I'm not going to say that. What I'm going to say is they are ignorant. They don't know what they're doing. That's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say they don't know what they're doing. And they should have hired a consultant. Again, I offer my services. You see who I got on my shit? My services. And I could have showed them how to do this effectively. We'd have rolled this thing out. This Trump shit would have been the hottest shit out. And it would have been like nothing you ever seen before. And everybody would have loved it. Because I have the technology right now from a kid who built the social media app. And I don't want to tell nobody about it because he can't get it off the ground because he don't got the capital. But it's in the app store. And it's a genius idea. But I don't want to tell any people about it because the idea is so genius. Somebody's going to steal it and beat him to it. It's still his idea app. But what I would have did was I'd have set it up so that he would have got paid for his idea. He would have been part owner in this shit to make sure he had some longevity. So I'd have gotten some cash on hand. We'd have took his idea, made him an equity partner in this company so he didn't get fully kicked out of the deal and lose all control over his idea. And we would have used that and his code, not open source code. We would use real proprietary code because he has proprietary code. His idea does not exist anywhere else in the world. And we'd have blew the internet away. They'd have been like, yo, Trump got the best app on the internet. This shit is fire. Because this kid has a really great idea. And if you're watching and you have the capital and you want to be involved in something great, I have an idea for you that we could sell you. I can talk to him. I'll reach out to him and we can set something up. Maybe you want to invest in his idea or something. I don't know. But that's what we could have did. Jabari Judah said we should take all clips from HJ's video tonight and tweet it to Donnie Trump Jr., Hotep and Bill. You should. You should. Somebody has to warn these people that you're getting robbed, either intentionally or unintentionally. Somebody's ignorance or something. Huh? I would love if I had an in with Trump. I would have warned him. I would have warned him. I feel bad. I feel bad that Trump is getting open source software. I feel bad that Trump has a team that doesn't know what they're doing. I want to know who's hiring, because that's the first thing. When I work with a company and they're like, because before I do marketing and branding, I do business development. Before I even touch marketing, branding, I do business development. I want to know your systems, the systems in which you operate on a daily basis and a weekly basis. And those that tell us, you can extrapolate from those what the monthly and yearly basis would be. But first, what do you do daily? And then from that, what do you do weekly? I want to know who you hired and why you hired them. I want to know every single position in the company, because you build a company based upon the people you hire. And not even the people, the positions first. What positions? Because sometimes you hire in the wrong positions. Great people, wrong positions. Like some people, they start up a company and they go hire a marketer. I'm like, you're not ready for marketing. It is not ready. It's not time. Right? It's just not time. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at your business and I'm going to rearrange the people you hired, because you're probably carrying a staff of people you don't need. So I'm sure if I went to go into Truth Social, I'd see a whole bunch of people that don't need to be there and a whole bunch of people that don't know what they're doing. And I'd just come in and I'd be like, all right, I wouldn't fire anybody. That's the one thing. I don't fire people. I don't believe in firing people. OK, what I believe in is putting them in positions that play towards their strengths. If we're carrying too many people on the books, OK, maybe we have to move your position into something where it requires less hours. But I don't believe in firing people, because people have families to feed, et cetera, et cetera. OK, what I would do is I'd take your current staff and I'd train them. If I couldn't train them in myself, I'd find somebody to train them. Okay. You want to work here? You really want to work here? Here's your position based upon your current strengths or your passions. I'm going to hire an expert. The expert's going to come here and he's going to train you for 3 months, whatever it is. And he's going to train you. Okay. And we'd build the company like that. But that's the first thing I do when I enter a company. When I talk to people, I'll be like, yo, who's on your team? What positions? I don't even ask, like, I just want to know what you got. And usually people say, yeah, well, we have a CTO and he does this. And just tell me what the positions are. Marketer, what does he do? He does that? Okay, cool. Who does this? Who does that? Okay. Yeah, you hired all the wrong positions. Or you got all the right positions and you just don't know how to put them together. The next thing we're going to do is, once we know you have the right people in position, we're going to look at your systems. What are your day-to-day systems? How do you operate? What are you working on? The other thing is, I operate off of a formula where we do high ROI tasks. We talked about this earlier. I teach people how to do less work and get a bigger outcome. That's what I specialize in. I see people, they put in all this work into a particular task, and I'm like, you're not going to get much reward. You can kill yourself in doing that task all day. It might make you feel like you're doing good work. It might feel like you're busy. But, you're probably not going to get rewarded too much. There's probably a low ROI on it. Probably zero ROI on it. It's probably a negative ROI on it. You're just not going to get anything back for that. And I can show you a whole different task that'll be way more efficient, way easier, way more enjoyable. And you'll actually see something from it. Right? Right. So that's how, that's the next step. Then we can get into discussing marketing and branding. Marketing and branding. So branding is, and I'm not going to give you my formula. You got to pay for that. I usually give it away when I do speeches. That's something that comes with hiring for one of my speeches. My fee is anywhere from $2,500 on up to come speak at your event, not including travel and lodge. And if it's anything over 3 hours, I fly first class because I'm just not doing the whole feet cramped and coach. I just can't do it. I fly myself first class everywhere. So you got to fly me first class. And if you're not, I don't mind paying the difference because I'm just not doing coach. So branding, you can look at branding as the framing of the house. And you could look at marketing as the colors. Usually when people think of branding, they think of branding as the colors. Like, oh, your logo looks pretty. Okay, you might call this branding, but that's not technically branding. At least not how I teach it. Is it part of branding? Yeah, it's more like the outside of the structure, right? Like, again, like that part of branding is like the colors, the look, and all the things that women love to do, and they do a great job of marketing and branding. But when I talk about branding, we're talking about the core of what your business means to people. Okay, that's what branding is. What is the core of what it means to people? I'm not giving you my formula because it's a whole nother story. You got to pay for that or join one of my classes or hire me for consulting. So no, I'm not interested in learning code. Thank you. I passed that up and I'm learning chess instead. Only have time for so much. You can teach my son how to code though. We can work that out and you can teach him how to code. How about that? Because he's more of a mind for that. So anyway, let's continue. So after we figure out, the branding, the business development side of things, then we get into branding and then we get into marketing and the colors and the ads and all that stuff. That's the last part. And most people, they think they need a marketer or branding before anything. Like I know some people, like they haven't launched a business yet and they're like, what am I going to do for a logo? And I'm like, logo? Like, why are you thinking about a logo? Like, just type that shit up in Helvetica font and go. If the name of your company is, mustard, just throw an M up there and go. Like, are you serious? Do you even know what the first Hotep Nation logo looked like? Like, the first Hotep Nation logo was literally an H and an N. Like, literally, I think it was Helvetica font, actually. And I think I just joined them together. We didn't do this until later. Like, you got to build the brand and then you make the brand look pretty, right? So, like, People are like, oh, well, I don't have a good microphone and I need a good backdrop for my podcast and streaming and I need a good camera. No, you don't. You need to start. That's what you need to do. You need to launch and figure out where your shortcomings are as you launch. Because the truth is, when you launch, nobody's going to buy your product. So nobody's going to see it. You launch your podcast, nobody's going to listen. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm done. I digress. Thank you for watching. I'll hang out for a couple of minutes and read the chat and shoot the shit with y'all. Thank you to the mods keeping the chat clean. I appreciate you. Shout out to everybody. Let me shout out my super chatters. B Weezy Bird, thank you. Jonathan W, Marshall Forward, Thomas Carbone. One time for Thomas Carbone. He's got the big super chatter tonight. David Ziantara, thank you. Jabari Judah, appreciate you. Coding Face said the fact they use Mastodon is a red flag. I hope the new version doesn't come out with Mastodon. I really hope they've innovated. I strongly suggest people learn to code. I think learning to code is great. I just don't have the time. We hire coders on this side. I just hire somebody to do that. I don't have time to learn it though. It came a point in my life where it was like learn to code or play chess, and I said to myself, whichever one brings a teacher first is what I'm going to do. And my coding teacher disappeared on me. I think because this young kid, he was very busy. I totally understand. But then I got a chess coach, and it's just like, all right, so I'm going to play chess, and I have a chess coach, so I dedicate. I hate having mentors and then wasting their time. So because I have a chess mentor, I want to make sure that I make them look good and be great at what I do, which is play chess. So many right-wing grifters. So many. I mean, there's grifters everywhere. Left, right, center. Everybody's grifting. Did anybody reply to my intern search? Yes. I had, I checked my email tonight. It tells that story about the interns. B. Weezy Bird said, great stream as always. Thank you, sir. Christian McNair said, start with Python. You know what? That is not bad advice. Python is awesome coding. I mean, it just cuts straight to the point. If you want to create a variable, there's no var stuff. You just type it. It's a variable now. I love Python. If I was to learn to code, I definitely would suggest starting with Python. Actually, no, I would suggest starting with HTML and CSS, because those are kind of quick and easy. You kind of got to get yourself warmed up with that. And then I'd definitely go into Python. But you can also jump into Python too. But I definitely suggest learning HTML. Brandon, thank you. He said fire observations as always. Thank you. I asked about apprentice. Then you talk about intern. Roscoe, I appreciate you, man. Thank you. Natasha, how you miss a stream? Of all people, Natasha. Joshua said, quick question, Hotep. He said, would you be willing to let me come over and apprentice? Got to learn and build to get my next political campaign beefy. Email me, Hotep Jesus at Gmail, and I'm sure we can figure something out. Yeah, just email me. We'll get on a Zoom call and figure something out. Tim Pool loves WordPress. I love WordPress. I'm not saying it's the best shit ever, but I love WordPress. I've been using it for a really long time. HTML, CSS is fake coding. Yeah, it's fake coding, but they still got to understand the principles. Like tags, right? Like you kind of got to know tags. Lindy Lou said this matters. Thanks for the information, Hotep. Thank you. Appreciate you. And how HTML communicates with CSS is very important. He said open source software when you're the ex-president. Thank you. We can't make Trump look bad. How are we going to make the GOAT look bad with open source software? Like, oh, his team should be fired, man. Palladium said, been seeing you on a 6, but I'm only just now getting hip to you. I've been sleeping. Welcome, Palladium. Welcome to a whole new world. You have no idea what you're in for, but just welcome to a whole new world. This is just big brain. We do big brain content over here. We don't do hoi polloi stuff over here. If you want to do hoi polloi, you got to go to another channel for that. But we don't talk about gossip on this channel. We talk about things that matter, things that don't get clicks, right? If it doesn't get clicks, it's probably covered here. Every once in a while, I might cover something that gets clicks, like the whole Joe Rogan N-word thing. I just felt like it was important for me to talk about that, though, because that was a very important moment in our lives. We're not canceling Joe Rogan. He said, I want to build a basic website. HTML, CSS is fine. No, if you want to build a website, just go get like a website builder, right? You definitely don't want to do HTML, CSS, and building a website from scratch. It's kind of like a waste of time, especially when they got things like Elementor, and other pieces of software where you just drag and drop. It's just that if you know HTML and CSS, it makes it easier to work with things that are like drag and drop builders like Elementor, because you know how things are functioning. So then when it's time to like modify things, you can do a little bit more than the next person with the drag and drop builder. But you definitely don't want to be building a website from HTML from scratch. It's just a huge waste of time. Said Trump gives his enemies ammo. It's not Trump, it's his team. He just, he expects that when he cuts the check that people get it done right. But, when you're a 70-year-old man, you just don't know much about tech. So how do you even know? Shred said, Hotep Nation is high IQ, no distractions. Exactly. Christian McNair said, love the big brain talk. Thanks, bro. Shout out to Christian McNair. DeSantis fan grifter is going to use this as fuel, unfortunately. He said, yes, if you don't want to code, there are no code tools that will save you a lot of time. Yes. He said, are we surprised? Look who Trump hired for his cabinet when he became president. That's a good point. Support friends that support Hoteps. Absolutely. He said, most of these news sites could use 100. Most of these news sites could 100% use a good Q&A team before they launch. The more they hype it, the more they need it. Correct. Absolutely. Shout out to Rob. Thank you, bro. It's wild to think how successful Trump was watching Biden burn everything he touches. Oh my God. Tell me about it. Martin X Manhunter said, what about Ukraine? If you want to know about Ukraine, go watch my, I did a presentation on that. We're not covering Ukraine again. That shit's fake news. We talked about that tonight on our other show, patreon.com. So as Hotep's been told you, me and Uncle Hotep have another secret show on our Patreon. It's pay gated. So if you want, you can go subscribe there and get my opinion on Ukraine. We already covered Ukraine on that show. I'm not covering it again. I did that already. That's just fake news. But go watch my Ukraine breakdown here on the channel. Thomas Anderson said, did you cover the Federal Reserve and Fed income tax being started by Woodrow Wilson? No, I did not. And I'll tell you why. First and foremost, because everybody knows about it. In my book, The Patriot Report, I cover everything that the based people don't know. Your favorite conspiracy theorist, everything he doesn't know is in here. If you want like the basic red pill information, like everybody knows about Creature Jekyll Island and the Federal Reserve, and like that's just basic information. Like everybody knows about that now. It's like, stop it. Like that was new information 10 years ago, maybe, right? Today, everybody knows about this, right? So no, what I did was I covered other things about Woodrow Wilson in my book, The Patriot Report. And if you don't want to read it, you don't buy it, I have a whole series on here called The Patriot Report, and we run through it all. What we talk about in here, as far as Woodrow Wilson is concerned, we talk about coercion into the war. We talk about his relationship with William Jennings Bryan, who I thought was a national hero. We talk about Edward Mandell House, his relationship with Edward Mandell House, and how Edward Mandell House was really the controller behind him. All right. And then who was the other shill? When I hate people, I usually lose their names. But we talk about people like Nicholas Biddle, right? We talk about people like Robert Morris. We talk about people like John Law. We talk about people that nobody knows about. too much money in there. Thomas Anderson says, seeing a lot of parallel path of action by Biden to Woodrow Wilson and Roosevelt and Hoover was doing what Trump was doing, got interrupted. Yes. So I call Biden Woodrow Wilson part 2, right? So I'll show you what we covered. If you go to menoforder.com, I covered 2 things on Biden as it relates to the Federal Reserve. So this one right here, Biden's cryptocurrency executive, I strongly suggest you take a look at that one and read this on menoforder.com. And then the other one was Project Hamilton. This is the CBDC. I believe you can hear about that too on Majid Nawaz on the latest JRE episode. He talks about CBDCs, but the white paper was published. And when the white paper was published, Cyprian did a video on it. Right here, Cyprian, you should definitely go watch this video. And then based upon his presentation, I wrote this blog to warn people about the coming CBDC. And then 7 days later, Biden was slated to give his executive order to study and release a CBDC as if they hadn't been working on it for years. Right, like it's something new. No, the Project Hamilton has been in the works for years now, along with Boston Federal Reserve and MIT. Right. So when it comes to the Federal Reserve, you know, we cover shit that people aren't talking about. It's shit that doesn't trend on Twitter. It's what you're gonna get from this channel. Right. We're gonna talk about the shit that doesn't trend, the shit that trends. The shit that doesn't trend under the shit that trends. Like the shit was trending was Truth Social, but we talked about tonight. We talked about what everybody is not going to tell you about Truth Social. Right? So we'll take the popular conversations and show you what's not popular about them. Right? So it's on menoforder.com. I strongly suggest you guys go there and subscribe and free content. Sasha Kayleen said, Hotep Jesus equals national hero. Thank you. I'm not a national hero yet. I'm working my way there, though. So you covered his wish to create an executive center, top-down authoritarian with him in that position before the war interrupted him. No, actually, I did not cover that. What I covered was the fact that there was a top-down authoritarian situation happening in America way before Woodrow Wilson. You guys are stuck on Woodrow Wilson and the Federal Reserve. Why are you guys stuck there? That's not where the story begins. I take you through where the story begins and why it begins and who it begins with. In the Patriot Report, you got to go get a copy of this. Stop talking about the Federal Reserve. It's not the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve was the end of it. That's the end of the story. How did it begin? If you don't know how something was born, you don't know how to kill it. You have to know how it was born to kill it. Go to the genesis of money in America. This is the genesis of money in America. I could have called the book that. Wow, that's a good name. The genesis of money in America, right here. Federal Reserve, it's in here. I got a chapter on the Federal Reserve. I don't cover what everybody wants me to cover on it, though. I cover some things, Jekyll Island. I covered Jekyll Island and a little bit of that. Yeah. But we talk about this. The Monetary Control Act of 1980, right? Things that nobody talks about. I'm gonna show you what I mean when I say things that nobody talks about, right? And I showed this example on this channel before. Right? So I type in Monetary Control Act of 1980, and I'll show you right here. Boom. Look at this. I am the only one. I own this keyword. You see my face right here? I own this keyword. The Monetary Control Act of 1980 and the Federal Reserve. You guys are talking about the Federal Reserve, but the Federal Reserve didn't get supreme power until the Monetary Control Act of 1980. You're talking about the Federal Reserve, but you're not talking about the Monetary Control Act of 1980. Nobody's talking about it. I can show you right here. Right here, Monetary Control Act 1980, 110 views. Right here, Monetary Control Act of 1980, 70 views. Right here, Monetary Control Act of 1980, 1K views. And that's it. And that's it. And that's it. I own this keyword. I have the most views for the Monetary Control Act of 1980. I control this keyword. Why? Because nobody's talking about it. Again, on this channel, you're going to get what nobody else is talking about. So you keep talking about the Federal Reserve and Woodrow Wilson. They know you know about that. They give you that. That's low-hanging fruit. Some people say, oh, well, how are you getting away with talking about the Federal Reserve? Because that's the stuff they give you. That's low-hanging fruit. Everybody knows about that. You can't do anything about with that information. That's basic bitch information. That's what that is. It's basic bitch information. It's basic bitch information. Okay? 1913, basic bitch information. That's some shit you tell a normie Democrat when you first want to red pill them, right? That's the shit you tell them when you first, that's some shit I teach my kids. My kids are 12. That's what I teach them. A grown-ass adult, let's talk about something real here. Let's talk about the Bretton Woods Agreement. Why nobody want to talk about the Bretton Woods Agreement? You think the Federal Reserve was bad? Wait till you learn about the Bretton Woods Agreement and Maynard Keynes. Wait till you read that chapter, or wait till you watch my presentation on the Bretton Woods Agreement. We covered that. Let's go to that. Let's go here. Boom, right here. You type in the Bretton Woods Agreement, scroll down, I'm right here. 2 hours and 12 minutes, 2.8K views. I don't know what these guys talk about. I might actually sit down and watch these one day just to see if they covered this shit I covered, but I doubt it. I doubt it. Because look at the times. All right, so you're going to explain the Bretton Woods Agreement in 1 minute and 29 seconds. You're going to explain the Bretton Woods Agreement in 2 minutes. You're going to explain the Bretton Woods Agreement in 7 minutes, 5 minutes, 38 minutes. All right, 55 minutes. I give you that. I got 2 hours on the Bretton Woods Agreement. That's one of the most important presentations I've ever done. That's one of the most important policies to ever get passed. Why y'all talking about that? Do you realize that 1917 was probably more brutal than 1913 as far as the dollar was concerned? Let's go to it. I'll show it to you right now. 1917, dollar. There's like whole studies on this shit. Like people actually like, actually let's type in inflation. So everybody wants to make fun of, who is it, Venezuela? Oh, Venezuela, hyperinflation. Yeah, you know who's experienced hyperinflation? The United States of America. The United States of America. Where is it? Let me try to find you a good chart. There's a bunch of them here. Is this the one? Copy image address. Let me take a look at this one to make sure this is a good one. I'm sorry, 19. No, I want the reverse chart. That one's good. I don't want to show you that one, though. I want to say it was 1917. Hold on. Dollar inflation. Or was it 1970? Am I getting them mixed up backwards? Yes, I'm sorry. I'm getting them backwards. It's 1971. I do that with numbers sometimes. I'm dyslexic. I'm sorry. So let's put this on your screen. Let's put this on your screen right here. So right here, 1971. You see right around 1971. You see it right here. You see that arc going up right here. That's called hyperinflation. That's called hyperinflation. You see that? Now let's come and look. And we're gonna go right here. And we're gonna go to, we're gonna type in Bretton Woods Agreement ended right here with Nixon. Right here ends with Nixon. Remember Nixon outlawed gold? It's right here. This is why. 1971. You see it right here? 1971 is when the United States of America experienced hyperinflation, people. Hyperinflation sets in 1971. I said 1917. I do that with numbers. I'm so sorry. But right here, you see 1971. You see it right here? And there's 1971 hits right here on this line. You'll see it. And there's a whole bunch of studies on this. It's a whole bunch of charts you'll see. I would have found it faster if I would remember this 1971. See, I keep talking about the Federal Reserve, but y'all, that's what they want. They want y'all talking about the wrong shit. They want y'all talking about the wrong shit. It's called misdirection. You think you woke, but you not really woke. Here's the chart I was looking for. You think you woke, but you not really woke. You half woke. It's the chart I'm looking for right here. So right here. So 1913 is right here. Right? World War One. You see it? Then we got World War Two. And there's some inflation happening. But right at 1971, you see it right here? 1971, hyperinflation sets in. And when you read my book or go watch my presentation on it, on the Bretton Woods Agreement, you will understand why the United States experienced hyperinflation. This is the Federal Reserve. Between 19 and 1971, you did experience inflation. Was it bad? Yes. But was it this bad? No. Why? The Bretton Woods Agreement. And the Bretton Woods Agreement was started, I want to say 1940 something, I believe. Somewhere around here. And you'll see it start to go up. But when it ended, oh man, that's when everybody found out what was going on. That's when the lid was pulled off. Yes, sinking of the Lusitania, right? I covered the Lusitania on my channel too, right? Theta Mumi said that's not hyperinflation. Theta Mumi says this isn't hyperinflation. This is what he says. He looking at this chart. Now y'all can go based upon what the World Economic Forum says, whatever the media wants to tell you what hyperinflation is. But I'm looking at the chart with my eyes. My eyes is telling me that's called hyperinflation. Inflation is literally based upon, they measure it based upon the consumer price index. You see right here, figure 1, consumer price index, United States. You see it? They measure inflation based upon the consumer price index, the cost of goods. Right? You see it there? Theta Mumi said what happened with gold in 1933. Let's type it in. Let's type it in. You talking about the debasing? Oh yeah, that's the debasing. They debased gold. Yeah, they debased gold. But again, like, you're late to the party. They debased gold in the 1800s. They debased gold in the 1700s. Again, like, you still late to the party. You're still late to the party. Hyperinflation. He's going to look at this chart and he's going to tell me this isn't hyperinflation. Right? This is what he's going to tell me. Let's come here. Let's type in inflation. All right? What is inflation? Go to Investopedia. Right here, what does it say? Inflation is decline of purchasing power given a currency over time. Da, 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 da. Increase of average price level. All right. Oops. Right here. Based upon a consumer price index, CPI. Right. Come right here. Let's go back. I'm sorry. It was in one of these tabs. I probably closed it because I went.
We're back. Here it goes.
I'm getting sleepy. Right there. Pattern shifter. Thank you. Appreciate you. What's good? Hotep paying my tuition. He gonna tell me this is not hyperinflation. People in the chat, does that look like hyperinflation to you? Or do you need the World Economic Forum to tell you? Do you need like the media to tell you this is called hyperinflation? Like who do you need to tell you this? Because I'm looking at the chart and I learned in third grade how to read charts. He said, yeah, that's right. Just an example you gave was not hyperinflation. How is this not hyperinflation? So he's an example of called being overeducated, right? You're educated so much that you're stupid now. You done read so much books that they was able to fool you into knowing what inflation is and what hyperinflation is. He gonna look at this graph right here and tell you this ain't hyperinflation because everybody gives you the example of Venezuela and all these other countries who experience hyperinflation. So they think America could never experience hyperinflation because we're America, the greatest nation on earth. We can never experience hyperinflation. Not us. We have inflation, but not hyperinflation. Bitch, this is hyperinflation. Ain't nobody gonna lie to me. I don't need a book to tell me we've experienced hyperinflation. I don't need a book to tell me. I'm the one that told me this is hyperinflation. I'm the one that told the public this is hyperinflation. It doesn't say anywhere on the internet that this is hyperinflation. I said so. Because I looked at the chart and I go, oh, that's hyperinflation. See? A.K. Riker. I'm going to show you this. He says hyperinflation means 100 to 1,000% per year, dumbass. That's what you call overeducated. He's overeducated. They tell you what hyperinflation means, right? So he'll say hyperinflation means 100 to 1,000%. Right? No, you have to use common sense. You have to use common sense. You can't allow them to make up the rules. You allow them to make up the rules, they will have you fooled from now to the end of next year. Because they create hyperinflation. They go, well, if we tell people that hyperinflation is 100 to 1,000% per year, then it's not technically hyperinflation. Now, bitch, I'm looking at this graph and that's telling me that's hyperinflation. Okay. No currency is supposed to be inflated this fast. This is not supposed to happen. This is hyperinflation. Nah, I don't need a book to tell me it's 100,000% over. No, that's called being overeducated. You're educated by the people that run the monetary system, and they're the ones that are going to tell you it's 100, 2,000%. And you're going to run with that. You're going to run with that shit too. You're going to think you smart. Oh, I'm smart. I know what it's 100 to 1,000%, bro. No, you're stupid. Joshua Ham said technicalities are the worst kind of lies. Thank you. Right. So RD says, so 99.99% isn't hyperinflation. Exactly. They will lie to you straight to your face, educate you, and make you stupid. They will literally make you stupid. They'll show you with your own eyes. They'll make you dot your own eyes. You look at this chart and you go, that's a kind of steep climb. And they'll say, well, it's not hyperinflation because it wasn't 100 to 1,000% year over year. It was 90%. It was 90%. And that's not hyperinflation because it's only 90%. And then you believe them. And then you turn around and wonder why you're dealing with all this communism in your country. Because you allow the fucking communists to educate you and lie to you about what hyperinflation is. Xana said exactly. So why do you support Trump? I don't support Trump. I like Trump, but I don't support Trump. Support comes in the means of voting and donating or purchasing goods of. I've never purchased a MAGA hat. I wore one, but I've never purchased one. I haven't donated to his campaign, and I don't vote. So I don't support Trump, according to me. What I do support is the fact that he's anti-mainstream. And I like him for that. That's the only thing I liked him for. It's the only thing I needed to like him for. There's a reason why they banned him from everything. If they didn't ban him from everything, I probably wouldn't trust him. But the fact that they banned him from everything should tell you everything you need to know. I can't believe that guy tried to tell me that wasn't hyperinflation. Y'all just some educated dummies, man. Educated dummies. Oh my God. Monkey King says Uncle Hotep supports Trump. Uncle Hotep voted for Kanye. Try again. Hyperinflation started when they moved from the gold standard. You guys gotta go. You gotta go watch the Bretton Woods Agreement video, because it has nothing to do with the gold standard. See, the difference was there was a gold standard removed for you, but not the government. And we'll talk about that. You'll see that in my book, or go watch my Bretton Woods Agreement video. Y'all don't know shit yet. RD said chart almost vertical, not hyperinflation. Bro, like. And he calling me the dumbass. He's calling me the dumbass. Look at the chart. It's right there. It's right there. I can see it with my own eyes. This is why we lose. This is why the left kicks our ass. This is why the left kicks our ass. Because they make up the rules and we follow them. We go, that looks like hyperinflation. No, well, technically it's not 100 to 1,000% year over year, so it's not hyperinflation. Fuck you, asshole. I know what hyperinflation looks like. But you left you complain about the money masters, then you follow the rules that the money masters lay out for you, and then you call yourself educated. I just don't get it sometimes with y'all, man. Just don't get it with y'all sometimes. Yeah, exactly, Martian. They need to go watch my playlist on the Patriot Report. It's hours worth of education. Go little by little, one by one through those videos. Your Bretton Woods Agreement video does not show up in the UK. I could imagine. I could imagine. They are years behind. Web3 is not even understood. Trump social isn't even. Well, there's no such thing as Web3. Go watch my video with Cyprian. There's no such thing as Web3. Web3 is a marketing term, so there's no such thing as Web3. We can just forget about that. And CPI is manipulated. Yeah, the consumer price index is manipulated. Correct. So you can imagine what the real inflation looks like. He said, if gold doesn't have physical value, what does? Well, value is fleeting. Value is whatever you say has value. So gold technically does have value. Gold has value based upon the fact of its conductivity. We went over this in the previous one, conductivity and its inability to rust and all that situation. So that has usefulness. Chart you are showing was due to JFK not devaluing gold. Then LBJ, Great Society. No, sorry, Google too. You're wrong. You're just wrong. That is what the liberals taught you. That's what you learned in school. Come on over to the Hotep side of things and get the truth. Get the truth. Go watch the Bretton Woods Agreement. Go watch the Bretton Woods Agreement. You will understand. You gotta go watch it. Gotta go watch it. Don't talk to me till you go watch that video. Then you can speak on the subject matter with me. Until then, you just don't know. You just don't know the truth. You think you know, but you have no idea. You have no idea. He said, your chart shows that movement from the gold standard. Again, go watch the Bretton Woods agreement. Has nothing to do with the gold standard. That's the jokes. That's the trick. Oh, you guys got to go watch the video. Go watch the video. You have no idea. No idea. I did the research from people who study monetary policy. I read the books, 600 plus pages books, and I put together the report. It's called the Patriot Report. Go read it. Get a copy. Or free on YouTube. Go watch the videos. It's not about the gold standard. You guys never had a gold standard. I'll say it right there. The United States never had a gold standard. The United States never had a gold standard. How about that? How about that? The United States never had a gold standard. Just bust your bubble just like that. If we want to be technical, the United States never had a gold standard. They'll teach you and tell you it was a gold standard. But when you go look at how this alleged gold standard was operating, there technically wasn't a gold standard. Again. You can't disagree. You cannot disagree until you've seen my side of the argument, because there's nothing to disagree with. Fuck Google too said US had a silver or bimetal standard, I think. That's half of the truth. But again, if you haven't read the Patriot Report or watched the videos on it, you don't understand what I'm talking about. Stop it. Stop it. Come back after you read the book. Then tell me that the US had a fair silver or bimetal standard. Remember when they outlawed silver? Remember when they debased silver? It was like, oh, no, y'all niggas not allowed to own silver no more. How about that? Because England didn't have none. They're like, oh, England can't have none, so you can't have none. How about that? I did the research. Took 2 years. But I did the research. I put together a report for y'all because I wanted y'all to understand your country. Y'all can go read it or not. Xana, there are multiple factors causing hyperinflation. The financial system is complex. I feel bad for you, baby. I feel real bad for you. I feel bad for you, man. You're one of those people who think you know, just don't know. Said, yeah, I'm going to have to go through your videos so I get a copy of the book for sure. You don't have to buy my book. I did the videos because they're free and I wanted people to know. You can get a copy of the book. If you don't, that's fine. But I did it for free because I wanted people to know. Go watch the videos. The problem, who finances that shit until it works? Ooh, exactly. Us. Bro, just watch the videos and opinions if you're busy. If you're a busy Sean, like eat some Cheetos when you're free. It's simply, honestly, bro. Thank you. It's simple, honestly, bro. Thank you. As if he doesn't go through the multiple factors in the book. Exactly. Monkey King, other countries got our gold. See, he's somebody who's been paying attention to my channel. He's been paying attention. He knows. Right. Just watch the vids. Like, how hard is this? It's not that hard. It's just not that hard. I'm out of here, y'all. Y'all just frustrate me. I appreciate everybody who are economics, hun. See George Gammon's channel. It's very thorough. I'll check him out. George Gammon's. I don't know about you, but as far as economics is concerned, this is where we at. This is my Bible. I know you talking about economics and your George Gammon, but we're soul readers over here, sweetheart. This This is what we read. Okay. This is my Bible. Okay. This is what I study. Okay. Read this, and then you come back and talk to me. If you haven't read this, don't talk to me. Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me until you read this. Don't talk to me until you read this. You got that? Got that? It's a great book, by the way. Excellent fucking read. Then we can talk economics. I keep that next to my book. Okay. I keep that book next to me. Okay. Keep it right next to me. So you talking about economics. This is my GOAT. Okay. Keep it simple. I don't need George Gammon. I'm sure he does great work. But don't try to play me like I don't understand economics, because I keep the economics book next to me. Anytime I need to look at some shit, I got Soul sitting right next to me. I understand this shit very well. I wrote a book on it. I understand monetary policy very well. Very well. Okay? Don't play me. You new to this channel, Xana. You new here. Don't play my intellect. When am I going back on JRE? Sooner than you can expect. Okay? Sooner than you can expect. I appreciate everyone for listening. Martin said, you got to chill with this McGraw-Hill education. He didn't watch the playlist. Yo, for real. He said, for one thing, the amendment was written before they were states anyway. They were colonies and commonwealths. That's also true. That's also true. Absolutely. Oh, my God. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you for tuning in. Go share this video with somebody special, somebody near and dear to your heart. I love you. For my real Hotep watchers, the people that are here consistently watching, you guys are real MVP. I love you. As always, Hotep and Bill.